Hey friend, welcome to the Coach B Experience podcast. We have another action-packed, value-stacked, real and raw episode for you. Remember, it does not benefit you to just listen. I want you to remember 3 things. Take fast action, get a result, and grow from your experiences. You have power in your choice. Let's dive into today's experiences. All right, everybody, welcome to the Coach B Experience. I have Chad Clark here with me. Chad Clark, tell everybody what's up.
Hey, everybody.
So, Chad Clark is a good friend of mine, really good friend of mine, a leader, I would say, in this community, a leader, and one of my mentors, I'd say, I look up to when it comes to finance, money, especially with debt. We had a great conversation when we were on a plane, and we were talking about debt. And even before we begin, Chad, please tell everybody, what is it that you do and how did you stumble upon this thing of debt?
So, well, you know my career. I'm in the Army. I'm an enlisted guy in the Army. It's not the greatest paying job that there is, but it's a great job. It is a good job. No doubt about it. And it's a fun job. That plane that we were on, we were, sent to work in Miami from the DC area to jump out of a helicopter into the Atlantic Ocean. Not a bad day, not a bad day of work. So, with a parachute, of course, jump out of a helicopter with a parachute. But it's a good time, right? And I originally, when I joined the Army Reserve way back in 2002, basically I realized I was taking heavy loads of at Ohio State, heavy loads of coursework. And I'm like going back where I'm getting these statements from Department of Education about my student loans and things like that. And my parents were helping me at the time as well. The deal that I had with my parents was as long as I went to an in-state school, they were going to pay the tuition while I paid everything else. And with them paying tuition, me working 2 jobs, and I was still taking out loans to, make ends meet and stuff. And I just came to it's like, you know what? Furthermore, I was taking in the full college experience. I was drinking my fair share of cheap beer and other things. All right. So it just wasn't, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't care for school as much as I should have. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was, and then on top of that, there's just this cloud hanging over me that, hey, I'm spending a lot of money to not feel good about what I'm doing. So,
True.
So I decided I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to join the Army Reserves. I'll go do my basic training, my advanced individual training, my job training, and take a year off, get my head right. Help have drill sergeants help me get my head right, I guess. And, but also then some things I found when I was there was like, I played football in high school. I know you did too.
Yeah.
And, I was like, this is it's physical. All right. It's certainly teamwork, though it's not, sports, it's still competitive. And, there's some parts of this, you're spending a lot of time with some great people that are like-minded. And so I ended up loving it and decided, a couple years later, after I graduated from college, with the Army then paying for it, and paying for those loans that I had taken out, eventually, that this was the job I wanted to do full time. So now, that is me. And, but I guess, and then why should people listen to me on this? Well, because I've been there and screwed it up. And then maybe it stayed screwed up for longer than it should have. But
No
But
doubt.
like, but I always tell people, I'm like, there's knowledge, and there's wisdom.
Yeah.
Knowledge is, knowing, like you read a book that says if the stove is on, then it's probably really hot, or somebody told you that, or but wisdom is it's the person telling you, don't put your hand on that because I put my hand on it yesterday while the stove was on it, and look at the scar that I got on my hand now. They got the marks, they've learned the hard way from things, and I would just say I've gained a lot of financial wisdom because stupid things that I've done, and then that then I had to work my way out of. So
Yeah, definitely. So I definitely want to say going through the fire refined you a lot. So you have a lot of that wisdom. And it's not even like that. It's not only like book wisdom, but it's like you actually experienced it yourself. So I think that's the best part, because I think you have a lot of professors in college that can tell you about it. A lot of people that can read a book can tell you about it, but someone that actually has gone through it and can tell you like, oh, well, don't do this because this is going to happen. This is what really happens, because it's like life has a different meaning than when you just read it on a book.
Bingo.
I love that. So how long did it take you to be like debt free until you were like, okay, man, it really feels good. I'm in the clear now. How long did that take you?
Well, so first I had to realize, all right, debt is a problem. In my family, my mom and dad, they're frugal people, generally not foolish with money, but other than to say like they just don't live an extravagant life. I didn't know a process, and
Yep.
kind of needed something more tangible. And so, and everything I'm going to talk about today, it's not Chad's idea. It's I basically I never was really big on music.
Yep.
Excuse me. So I would listen to talk radio, and uh, I'd listen to a lot of NPR, and I didn't really care for a lot of the political talk radio, but even sometimes that was more interesting. Talking about ideas to me, and hearing that was more interesting than just listening to music and letting my brain be in neutral. So then I found I ended up finding a talk radio show that's put on by a guy named Dave Ramsey. So
Yep.
I believe it's actually just called the Dave Ramsey Show, and started listening to it, and he just has people call in, and they say, "Hey, this is my problem. Hey, can you help me? What's your advice, Dave?" And I listened to it every day um, for 2 to 3 hours while I was doing the job that I was doing at the time. I was driving a lot, so I'd listen to it every day, and I was just like, man, this is it. And so that's where I kind of identified the problem through listening to the show. First off, is that
Yep.
I need to be out of debt. Like all of the money, most of the money I'm making, what doesn't go to rent and utilities is going towards a car payment, is going to maybe my wife's student loans, is going towards a credit card, it's going whatever. Everybody's got got the things that
They gotta pay.
yeah, student loans. Luckily, the Army had taken care of those. But all my friends had those.
Yep.
That I was going to school with. So, um, so we have what we have, but I was just like, I would have like at that time I wasn't making a whole lot of money, but I'm like I would have an extra $1,500 a month, if I wasn't making all these daggone payments.
Yep.
And so I was just like, all right, we're just going to get a little more intense on this, and so I used the method he uses, which is the debt snowball, which isn't it's basically, all right, so you list all of your accounts from smallest to largest on a piece of paper, and and the remaining balance, monthly payment, and the remaining balance, if you would like, and you take care of them smallest to largest. using your income. So all the extra money you have, it goes on that smallest debt till that smallest debt is gone. Does not matter what the interest rate is, but and the reason for that is, yes, mathematically it makes sense to pay off the highest interest rate first, right? Because that's the one that's costing you the most money. Well, it's because psychologically, when you accomplish something, you just took off some $50 debt that you had on a silly credit card or something, but it crosses something off that list, and now psychologically, I feel like I'm moving towards my goal. It gives you some momentum, right?
Yeah.
So now to then even go back a little bit from there, well, how do we identify how much money we have? All right, so are we just living like this free life? We go out to eat every day for lunch, and like there's $5 to $10. There's grab something to eat for dinner, grab a couple Monsters in the morning, and the next thing we know, we got $20 a day going out in stuff that you don't even remember buying. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And well, so you have to do a budget. You have to know where your money's going. You have to know what's coming in and know where your money's going. And so you got to write down, like, at the top, all right, hey, I know I'm going to make this much money or about this much money this month based on historical precedents, right?
Yep.
Most people have an idea as what they're going to make. And so get as close as you can on that number if your income can vary. And then next, it's list all of your expenses. Hey, rent or mortgage payment, car payment, gas for the car, insurance for the car, light, or electric bill, gas bill, phone, internet, on down the line. Yep. And we list those things so that we know. And then once we know where we are, well, now we can truly devise our plan on how. Okay, so that should leave some money left at the bottom. Our income should be greater than our expenses, and with that money left at the bottom, now we know how to assign that money. So after we've figured out groceries and all of it, and we've cut out, like, one of the things he's always telling people that call him and are clearly disorganized with their finances is, you aren't to be in a restaurant unless you're working there. Like,
yeah.
So, because truly, while sometimes there is a practical need for a restaurant, like we need something to eat quickly, especially you got dependents and you got kids and all that. Sometimes you just need something to eat quickly, but excuse me, it's way more expensive. It's way more expensive
to go out to eat.
Yeah, to eat in the restaurant, probably 3 or 4 times. Probably 3 or 4 times as much to eat when somebody else is preparing the food and packaging it for you. So, go to the grocery store and you can even eat good. You could be eating Whole Foods. You could be doing all your shopping at Whole Foods and still save money over a restaurant and honestly over even fast food. Fast food's not that inexpensive. So
good. So I like that. So first things first, really making that list and really taking ownership of, like, hey, look, this is the stuff that I'm spending money on, and making that list and being like, and that's my budget, right? All my expenses, listing them all out. Then I'm also going to take all my accounts, all the money that I owe, found out the amount, and from largest to smallest, make that list, and then start figuring out how much do I make once I pay all my list on my budget. How much money do I have left over? And then take that money and then start to pay off that debt, right? So I just want to make sure I'm following you, Clay, right, Chad?
That's right. So let's compare it to a workout plan. If we didn't know, if a client calls you and they want some coaching, right, some fitness coaching, and then you're like, okay, so tell me how much you weigh, and they're like, I don't know. And then you're like, then you're like, okay, well, like you want to know what kind of workout plan can you give them, right? So like,
True.
well, what do you know about fitness, or how good a shape are you currently in? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't know how much you make and you don't know what your expenses are and
True.
what your debts are, then that's essentially what you're like, I don't even know. All right, well, if I'm talking to like Rich Froning, if you're talking to Rich Froning and he's the CrossFit, deemed CrossFit fittest guy in the world, and he tells you that, and he's like, develop me a workout plan, and you develop some kind of basic, that would be challenging for most people, workout plan, and you send it over to him, he's gonna be like, I ain't even break a sweat, man. Like, crank it up, and you're like,
True.
okay, well, since I didn't know where you were, because you didn't know where you were, then I will. But it makes it hard to start, and it's foolish. It's foolish to even try if you don't first know where you are anywhere on a map. If you don't know where you are, then you don't know how to get to the place you're trying to go. Right?
True. All day. I agree with that. So it's really important to know like your starting point and knowing where you are right now. And that's, I think, what I'll say, that's the hard pill to swallow, because I will say before I started taking control of my money, I hated logging into my account to see my bank account, because I'd be like, what damage did I do this weekend? Or I know I spent so much money, like, oh man, like is it pay week yet?
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, we want to stay in denial. We don't want to know.
Yeah.
We don't want to know how bad it is. Trust me, I've been there. I'm like, I don't even want to look at those numbers right now, because they're just gonna make me sad.
So we definitely have to look at the numbers, and we definitely have to say, you know what, take ownership and be like, look, this is my life, this is my money. And then can you speak on the importance of why it's important to be debt free?
Well, so because you want your money to go toward the greatest tool for you to build wealth in the future is your income. And if you aren't controlling your income, your debtors are controlling your income, well then you're not going to be able to use that money to build wealth for the future. You're not going to be able to invest it in your retirement plan. You're not going to be able to put it into, if you wanted to do some kind of business venture, if you felt that was really, well, you don't have your money. You're not in control of it. So find a different way you're going to have to find a different way to finance your hopes and dreams. But the number one so great book I just read was I know the title of this podcast is Millionaire Next Door. So just recently an updated version inspired by that book came out, seriously, like 2 weeks ago, honestly. And it's called Everyday Millionaires by Chris Hogan. He's one of the Dave Ramsey personality, like works with Dave Ramsey a lot. Fantastic guy. And he speaks towards retirement, prosperity. That's his kind of niche within all the financial things that Dave Ramsey talks about. And the number one thing making people a true millionaire, that is their net worth. A millionaire by way of figuring their net worth, not like saying, hey, they made $5 million last year, but a millionaire as in their net worth. That is the things they own minus minus what they owe, being worth more than $1 million. And the 401k, the retirement plan, that was the number one component that created these millionaires. That was the way, that was the biggest part of their net worth was their retirement plan.
Yeah, and we're talking about like average everyday Joes. We're not talking like the superstars or like celebrities. We're talking about everyday working people.
I'm telling you, there's one. You can walk out of your front door right now and probably throw a rock and hit the front door of a millionaire right now. It's maybe not that common, but
Yeah.
yes, it is that person with their house paid for. It is that person that has 25, 30 years of contributions going to their going into their 401k with a
Yep.
company match, and they took it serious from the beginning, because
Yep.
compounding interest, get on moneychimp.com or any compounding interest calculator. And if you just put your money into an investment that does what the economy does what the S&P 500 does. So you put it into a super simple index fund, whether it's the Dow Jones, this S&P, the NASDAQ, whatever. Well, the S&P 500 has averaged since it started about 10% a year. If you got that kind of return and you invested about $1,100 a month for 17 years, so if you're investing about $1,100 a month for 17 years, which so if you're investing 10 to 15% of your income into retirement, like most experts would say you should, and you're getting that 10% return on your money, it takes about 17 years, or 17, 18 years, and you have $1 million, $1,100 a month. Like, so there's just one simple. I already did the math for you. You're on that one. Like, all right, $1,100 a month for 17 years in a return. The components to this equation in a with getting a 10% return. So just simply being in the S&P 500, going to be about, and that's with the 2008 recession. That's with all those things figured in. It still averages 10% a year.
Wow.
And that's how you get there. Now you change that to a 3% return on investment or a 6% return on investment, and you add a lot of time to that. You're adding 5, 6, 8 years, depending on what your return is. So, what you're invested in does matter, without a doubt. Not all mutual funds or investments are the same.
True.
They're not all created equal. Okay. But
so what's the best way for someone to really do you think it's best to go educate yourself when it comes to getting out of debt and all this and then learning how to invest your money, or do you think it's best to like talk to a financial planner and a financial advisor? What's your take?
Well, I think it's good to have experts in your corner. I think and I'm going to paraphrase here, but even in the Bible it says, the wise seek counsel, or something.
Yeah, no, that says that wise men seek counsel of wiser men. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Of wiser men, right?
Yeah.
Let's there's some key parts of that. So words mean things, and we want that to be taken. Wiser men, more, men and women that are smarter on certain things, but they advise you on say like taxes. Okay, so I'm going to go get a tax expert to tell me about taxes. I don't need to become that expert. I'm the overall manager. I'm the jack of all trades, master of none. So I know a few things about taxes. I know a few things about investments. I know a few things about how to behave with your money. But you need an expert in all those things. So I do have, I have a few guys that I call when I have a question, and it's rare that I have something, because I'm not. It's not like I got a real estate portfolio and a stock market portfolio and a
not yet.
Yeah. I got my business lawyer over here on retention. No, I don't have those. I don't have them. But I now know one of the things I've learned in my time is if it costs money to go get a legal opinion, or if it costs money to go get a CPA's, a certified public accountant's opinion, or a tax guy's opinion, if it costs me $50, $100, let's say, for 30 minutes of their time, an hour of their time for me to learn these things, or if it just costs me buying them lunch or something, that information is probably more valuable than whatever I paid for it,
Yeah.
So maybe it just cost me lunch at Chick-fil-A, and I spent $7 on a chicken sandwich and French fries at Chick-fil-A. Or maybe they said, hey, this is my rate. If you're going to come in here and I'm going to schedule an appointment with you, then it's going to cost you, $50, $7,500. Well, I'm going to go ahead and assume that the question I have, getting an answer to that question, is more valuable than that money. And it's going to serve me every year, probably save me that every year or possibly every month. So I do have, a company that manages, my IRAs. And then I do get some counsel, but I use multiple sources. So when I'm thinking of what insurances do I need, like life insurance, whatever, I do shop around. I ask a lot of questions, but do I have an insurance guy that I just like have in my corner that's like, hey, Chad, what's up, man? Yeah, good talking. Let's talk about that. No, I don't have a specific insurance guy, but I do my research. I read some articles that are trusted from trusted sources that I deem trusted sources, and I look around and try to educate myself to make the decision. And I try not to be, hey, we're all susceptible to this, to being sold something, and I'm just going to tell you, the more aggressive a company or a person is about getting this product or thing into my hand, the more I'm just sitting there thinking, what's the benefit for you? So when you take the different kinds of insurances, I'm going to seek counsel on what an expert truly thinks I need, rather than oh, hey, identity theft. Oh, and then they play me some scary pitch, some scary scenario of, hey, you got a dog, so you should get insurance in case that dog bites somebody, some kind of liability insurance in case that dog bites somebody because of this dog that happened 3 states over. This dog bit some little kid and hurt the kid, and then the family sued. Well, the dog I have weighs 8 pounds. So he would have I'm going to take that risk. You know what? I'm just going to take that risk that I'm not going to need it. But
I love the fact that at the end of the day, you do seek counsel, and you do have counsel of men that you can reach out to. I think it's important because I always say it's good for men, especially single men, to have a counsel of, I say, inner circle, right? You have those core people that you can reach out to, that you can talk to. You can ask questions. You always might know more than you or whatever that may be. You might work it out together.
Well, hey, and I'll tell you, so we were talking earlier, seek the counsel of wise men, right?
Yeah.
So, it's I'm quoting a stat that I'm not 100% sure on right now, but I know I've heard this a number of times, so hopefully it's accurate. But this is something you can really sink your teeth into. All right, I've sold this, right? On average, I'm told that on average your net worth is similar to your 5, 6, 7 closest friends, or closest advisors, if you will, the people that are in your circle. All right. So if those people are all broke, but living a fantastic life of vacations, but doing it with credit cards and doing it all the ways we know mathematically and biblically you shouldn't manage money, and they get a great car and they got all the stuff. They got all the stuff and all the vacations. All right.
Yep.
Well, their net worth is probably
trash.
Nothing. It could be negative. It could be negative. Maybe they even have a great income, but they spend it before it even got to them,
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, I'm trying to live, I'm trying to live today, but I'm trying to live for tomorrow too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to the age of 60 and be considering retirement at that age and but then not have the option to retire because, oh, hey, when I was in my 30s, I didn't, get my head out of my butt,
Yeah.
and I didn't even start thinking about retirement until 5 years ago. So therefore, it's not an option because I've dug myself a hole. I want the options. If I want to continue to work because I like my job, well, then I'll continue to work. If I don't, then I won't. Okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. So what would you say to single men listening to this right now, or anyone listening to this right now, but especially single men, like what would you tell them is the most important things, or would you give them like, what's like 3 steps you would say is the most important thing right now to take control of their money and to really focus to get out of debt? What would you tell them to do?
Well, I'm going to give you the first, then 3 steps to Dave Ramsey's stuff. Like I said, I'm stealing all that I'm saying today was created by other people. So is step one is you gotta have a rainy day fund, a small rainy day fund to get you through this tough time that. Assuming you're going to get out of debt over the next 12 months, over the next 18 months, you're sitting on some student debt, you're sitting on some student loans, you're sitting on a car payment, you're sitting on, whatever, medical bills, whatever it could be, God knows what. And that step one is save $1,000, have $1,000 just in a savings account linked, at the bank you use, so that you can at any time transfer that money in the instance that your car breaks down, you got to put a transmission in it. Something in your house breaks. $1,000 should handle. That handles a wide range of
life. Well, what life tells
there
you.
You go. Of life. That handles a wide range of life. Okay.
Good.
Curveballs, right?
Yeah.
And but so step one, save $1,000.
Save $1,000.
All right, you can have that in cash in your sock drawer. But I would recommend having it in a savings account that you just forget about. I forget about that account till the day I need it. That's not your lunch fund, okay? That's not the monster fund. That's not the, hey, I'm eating steak tonight because we're celebrating for something silly. It is the emergency fund. All right. An emergency means emergency. Step 2 is as I described earlier, you list your debts from smallest to largest, and everything that all the extra money in your budget that you've identified goes towards that smallest one first. Once it's done, well, then it just snowballs into the second. So all that money, you make minimum payments on everything down the line, but everything extra goes to the smallest one, and then they just fall like dominoes. As the next one falls, all the money then that was going towards that debt, plus the extra you was putting on it, all now piles onto the next one till it's gone. Hopefully, we're seeing increases in income, because now when you have a plan, let me tell you, when you have a plan, you work differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's clarity to your life, and all of a sudden with clarity comes motivation. And you may be taking on extra hours at work. You may be making more money, or you may get a promotion because your supervisor is just like, hey bro, you're knocking it out of the park here. There's a bonus check. There's all that money goes into getting out of debt, because the weight lifted off of you when you're debt free is amazing. It's worth all the things you would have sold that all the short-term things you would have sold that for, the celebrations, a night at a bar, whatever, that were hurting your plan. Okay. And then step 3, after you're out of debt, after you've knocked out all those debts, is you save up 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So now you've had your budget for a while. You know what your expenses are. You know how much it costs you to live 1 month on this earth, right? Your house payment, your electric, your cell phone, and all the things you need. Your gas for your car, your groceries, all of it. All right. So then you make your budget, and let's say it costs you $2,500 a month as a single man, where you live to get by, and you know that, well, then I'm going to save that amount of money, $2,500, and I'm going to save 3 to 6 months worth. So I'm either saving $7,500 or I'm saving $15,000 or somewhere there in between. That is now my true life emergency fund. I've got, if you were just sitting there with 10 grand in the bank, no debt, 10 grand in the bank, and your entire income, then you don't have to go get a credit card when bad stuff happens and go into debt. Yeah, no, I got 10 grand right here. If I need to replace my car, well, I'm going to go get a car that costs $10,000 or less, and I'm going to sell my old one as well. So we get a little bit of money there, and I'm going to go buy a car, and you can get a perfectly decent car for, $5,000. You can get something that's going to last you a couple years, going to do the job. It's going to get you to and from work, going to get you to and from social functions, whatever. It's going to work, right? Because then step four is invest 15% of your income into retirement. You invest 15% of your income into retirement for 20, 25, 30 years, you're going to retire above your standard of living during your working life. I promise. I promise, especially because of compounding interest, especially as long as you're getting some kind of return on your money. So if that's just invested in getting 10% return, just do the math on if you were making $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year, and you didn't get a raise your entire life. Take 15% of that, put it into a compounding interest calculator. You're going to retire above your standard of living without killing the goose that's laying the golden eggs. You're going to be able to just live off of what your retirement income is, off of what your investment's making. Step 5 is if you have children, invest in their college. So ESAs or 529 plans. Step 6 is pay off your house. That is the only debt that Dave Ramsey usually allows, but if you're buying a house, he tells you put 20% down, so at least 20% down, so that you avoid PMI, and PMI is expensive. It's mortgage insurance basically that the lender takes out on you in case you default. They're not out, but you pay that for them. It's usually somewhere around 50. It's based off of how much your mortgage is, but for a $200,000 house, it's going to be $50-$60 a month. And, so you get a 30-year mortgage, you put zero down on it, and you're paying an extra $60 a month. Like, that's a lot of money over the term of that, over 30 years, 360 payments, right? And then step 7 is just continue to basically expand your wealth and give generously. All right. So give to others, give to nonprofits that you love, give to your church, give to just do random acts of kindness. Give a waitress $100 tip on when you got a breakfast at Denny's. You know what I mean? Like just give, because giving, give it when we do something to help somebody else. There's no greater way to spend our money. So
true.
So there's steps broken down 1 through 7.
1 through 7. Nice.
1 through 7 of the baby steps that were not created by Chad Clark, but but
you did experience them.
I gained some wisdom on my own, and then finally got smart enough to just submit myself to a system that I saw. It looked good. My wife agreed to it further, and it works, man. It's proven. It's proven to work. Nice. Submit yourself to a system that works.
Good. And last question before we go. What is one habit you believe all single men should make a habit in their life?
Just one. I'd like to give 40 or so. Let me just talk a little bit longer, and there'll be like 25 of them in there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, it's. I want to say, let's know where you want to go, or try to figure out where you want to go. But let's make an assumption that single man, that single man that I know you're talking to, has plans of getting married, has plans of starting a family eventually, and doing the things that that a lot of men do later in their life, after they're single. It's that, okay, know what you want, and I'm going to say, you don't know. Rationale is great for. You don't want to pick somebody who has completely different belief system than you, and behaves in a way that you don't appreciate it, things like that. Just core beliefs are different. But I'm gonna tell you, like love's not rational. So my wife and I got married at a young age, and looking back, we were 22. It's not the youngest we could have got married, but it's younger than most people get married nowadays, by a few years. And I'm gonna tell you, like, we were still we were still dumb kids when we got married. Really, we thought we knew it all, but now looking back, and we've been married for 14 and a half years now, we're like,
congratulations.
What was, we were idiots, we were total idiots. We were just like, let's try this out. Yeah, let's get married. Yeah. Sounds cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
And, but we've grown up together, her and I have grown up together. I didn't know what I want. I knew what I thought I wanted at that time. I had no idea, though. And now, where I am now, where God has then brought me is so much better than what I thought I wanted then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, what I'm saying, I guess, is you don't know where you're going to find the girl, or your future spouse. You don't know where. You don't know what. Don't just be looking. Don't be just looking for rational things. That some of us guys can do is find that partner that's going to be your partner through thick and thin. Because we all know the marriage statistics in the U.S. aren't great anymore. 50% of marriages end in divorce. But I want to tell you, number one reason for divorce is money fights, money problems. That's also not. That's something Dave Ramsey says every day. So I'm just poaching all of his material.
Yeah.
But so if you don't have it together, then you're inviting risk into your life, with your finances. And then lastly, I would just say that find somebody who you want to support and you want to see accomplish their goals, and that is also gonna support you in accomplishing your goals. Maybe your goals that you don't even know you have today, but goals that you find in 5 years because the journey showed you something different. So
true.
I don't know. That is my way roundabout way of saying, look for this, but just find that person that that's gonna offer you that support, and that you want to offer that support to. You may already have that person may already be in your life as a friend, and you just don't know, man.
True. I love it. No, I love it. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the knowledge you have dropped. So, Chad, how can everybody find more of you, and they want to connect with you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm not an extremely social media savvy person. However, I do know how to function on Facebook. I'm friends with you. All right, we're buddies on there. So if they search Chad, CHAD, Clark, no E on the end, just Clark, the right way to spell it. Okay. They can send me a message. If they friend me, I don't deny I'm not. And I don't have so many friends. I think Facebook has some kind of limit as to how many friends you can have. Maybe I'm not close to that number yet. So I think I should be able to handle it. But that's it, man. I may not get back right away, but if somebody asks me something, I'd be more than happy to talk. And hey, I'll message them if it seems serious enough. I'll send them my cell phone number, and we can have a phone conversation about it if necessary. But be more than happy to help, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna have to have you on again, Chad. Definitely appreciate it. And I know you guys learned a lot here. So I always tell you guys, when you guys hear things, the wisdom and the knowledge that's being dropped, especially the experiences, take these and implement it right away. Don't just listen, but really implement. So then again, Chad, thank you for coming out again. And guys, we're going to talk to you guys later, all right?
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
All right. Later. Hey, my good friend. Thank you for listening. Reviews matter, so please leave us a review so other amazing people just like you can find us and listen to us. Also, remember to join us in our free Facebook group so we can build a real relationship and get to know each other. And you will find other extraordinary men and women on similar journey as you. Do not forget, take action on just one thing you heard today. Get a result from that and grow from your experience from that result. You have power in your choice. Until next time, my good friend, I'll see you later. This is Coach B.